Welcome to Biztech's Health and Wellness Show. Today, we speak to Vishal Doshi, the Chairman and CEO of AUM Biosciences. Now, AUM Biosciences is a global clinical stage biotech company focused on discovering and developing novel targeted oncology therapies, particularly for cancers with a clear genetic marker. Now, to tell us more about this, welcome to the show, Vishal.
Thank you very much, Brian. Pleasure to have a conversation with you today, and I'm looking forward to an exciting and productive conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, for a start, give us an overview of AUM Biosciences and its history.
Thank you. So AUM Biosciences is a 4-year-old company now. We started in 2018. We are headquartered in Singapore. And our mandate is really to develop a portfolio of precision oncology therapeutics focused on reversing cancer resistance. This is very close to our heart, and we have a portfolio of close to 4 assets, with 2 in clinical stage, 2 in preclinical, with multiple strategic partnerships put together in place with major pharma companies as well. And we are looking forward to an exciting 2023. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to explaining a little bit more about AUM Biosciences to you.
Okay, I want to take a step back a little bit, and can I explain what targeted therapies is, and just so that we break it down to its simplest form. Now, targeted therapies is a type of cancer treatment that targets proteins that control how cancer cells grow, divide, and spread. And you then focus on, as you said, a pipeline of precision oncology therapeutics that are designed really to deploy multifaceted inhibition strategies to reverse cancer resistance. Now, could you break this down in English for us? What does this actually mean? How does this impact patients? How does this impact outcomes?
Yeah, no, I think that's a brilliant question. So as you rightly use this word multifaceted, right? I mean, there is no right or wrong way of treating cancer, because we haven't found out how to best treat cancer or how to cure cancer, right? And cancer is a very smart disease, if I may put it that way. Cancer is a very smart disease. It has its own way of evading different things in your body. It has its own way of developing resistance as well. Now, what targeted therapies mean, there's 2 components to AUM Biosciences if you really put together. One is actually a portfolio of assets. Second is developing precision oncology / targeted therapies. So let me address the targeted therapies piece first, and then I'll address the portfolio component on that. Now, developing a precision oncology therapeutic portfolio on the precision oncology perspective is needed, because if the more wider you target a specific cancer, the higher the chance of resistance, right? So if you go and target multiple pathways at the same time, but you don't have a precise and a targeted drug that is targeting that specific protein in the highest potency, it's a bit of a problem. The cancer starts developing resistance because the cancer starts understanding that, hey, somebody's trying to kill me, right? So I need to find a way out of it, in a nutshell. And that's what we are trying to do. We are developing a portfolio, and we are developing precision oncology therapeutics, which is going right to the root of the problem. And that's how we would like to say precision oncology works, is to go to the root of the problem and actually target the root rather than looking at the leaves and the stems and the barks and everything else.
And so Vishal, this has a huge impact on the patient, isn't it? Because as you said, a lot of traditional methods take a wider scope, and what happens is it not only does the cancers have an opportunity to evolve and like you said, hey, they know they're trying to be killed, right? So they evolve and mutate and so forth. But also one of the key things is the patient themselves is weakened significantly if you take a wider, broader,
Indeed.
multiple therapies. Is that correct?
No, absolutely. It definitely has an impact on the patient's health, has an impact on the patient's quality of life, and it has an impact on patient's lifestyle as well. So you are absolutely correct. Now, Brian, if I can just explain to you what it was, say 40, 50 years back when people had HIV, it was as good as a death sentence for a lot of people, right? But look where it is right now. Now you take a cocktail therapy, you take a combination of multiple drugs, and people are living with the virus, right? So people are living at least a healthier lifestyle than what they were living 50 years back. Similar example is with diabetes. Diabetes is a controlled disease. You can control it, and you can still live normally by having good medication. Now, imagine we do the same thing with cancer, right? Think of another disease that I can think of is when you have flu. You will not accept when somebody gives you a medication and they say this will only treat 20% of your flu, right? So what we are trying to do within AUM Biosciences, we are trying to develop cancer therapies that will try and give the maximum benefit to the patients and try and develop drugs. It could be combination, it could be monotherapy, most likely combination, because that's the future of cancer treatment, according to me, is to create a treatment regimen that is going to impact the quality of life of patients as well for a long term. And that's what we are trying to do within AUM Biosciences.
And then you said also that you have a cocktail of different solutions, right? In terms at AUM Biosciences. Walk us through that and how you help patients.
Yeah, so we recently signed a partnership with Merck, MSD, for example. What happens is a individual company, it's very difficult for them to have one A plus B plus C plus D, all the 4 drugs that is involved in the cocktail. So the name of the game over there is to really partner with the right drugs that you think is going to make the maximum impact, right? So we partner with MSD to combine OM001 with the Keytruda drug that MSD has. Keytruda's annual sales are phenomenal. I think the data is available out there as well. And we are focusing on a disease called microsatellite stable colorectal cancer, which is 80 to 85% of the global colorectal cancer population. And then we have other cancer populations that we are focusing on as well, which we'll be happy to explain to you as we move along. So
yeah,
yes.
So let's walk that through. Give us some insights into some of the specific, and I didn't realize it goes to that specific in terms of how you target it. Walk us through your solutions and the specific cancers that you're trying to help patients with.
So we have as I mentioned, we have a portfolio of assets. So every drug is targeting specific cancer. First, to start off with the comment that 50% of our portfolio has an approval from the US FDA for an orphan drug designation. What an orphan drug mean? Yes. So an orphan drug designation, orphan drug is defined as a disease which has less than 200,000 patients annually in the US, right? And there is very less number of patients that you're talking about that actually get that treatment in there as well. So orphan drug has a threshold at which the number of patients are available in that country. And the US FDA says, if there is less number of patients available, then we should try and give them some benefits of getting fast track approvals as well. To have an orphan drug designation for 50% of our portfolio is a massive, massive thing. So we are moving towards more niche targeted therapies for these unmet medical need indications as well.
Okay, so can I ask you that? And I just got to interrupt you because that brings an interesting question. The question actually is, because it's such I wouldn't say a micro population, 200,000 is still a lot, but it's obviously not something that has a broad applications. Yeah. How does that impact you and impact you from a business standpoint and impact the patients as well, because it's such a small thing that probably the cost of treatment is very, very high?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question you ask. And personally speaking, or even commercially speaking, it is a very big unmet medical need, because those diseases are very debilitating by nature of it, right? But that doesn't take away from the fact that that's the only indication that a drug is going to work on. A drug, the portfolio that we currently have has a potential to be developed in multiple indications, but this is just one of the indications that it works on
I
as
see.
well, right?
And that's
So
also a fast track for you to get approvals.
potential fast track, yes.
Yes.
Potential fast track, depending on the data. Yes, absolutely. It can get us to the market faster, get us to the patients much faster, get the patients access to the drug that they really need. And I think that's very close to my heart. I mean, that's the dream I started this company with, is could I actually have one drug approved from the AUM Biosciences portfolio as quickly as I can, right? And that's the holy grail for any biotech company out there, is to take a drug from clinic all the way until commercialization. And that's something that we're working towards.
And that's fantastic, because as you rightly pointed out, my understanding is of sometimes this takes decades, but obviously
Yes.
by taking this approach, you get to market and get to patients, and patients feel the impact far quicker.
Indeed, absolutely, and there's absolutely different ways of looking at developing the drug. But yes, you're right. Drug development is not a short journey. Drug development is a very long journey, and you just need to be patient. That's the only way out of it. So yeah.
Now, what are the other you mentioned you have a plethora of solutions. What are the other solutions that you're also working on?
Yeah, so we currently have 4 drugs in our portfolio. OM001, which is currently getting developed at a global phase 2 study, which is in microsatellite stable colorectal cancer. Then we have OM601, which is currently in planning for a global phase 2 study. And that is currently getting developed for a specific mutation called NTRK fusions and NTRK mutations. To give you the scale of it, NTRK in some indications or some cancers are actually only overexpressed by say 0.5% of the entire population. Just tells you that it's a very niche population. But when you add 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 for every indication, it becomes a very big problem, right? It's a compounding problem that comes onto it. But that's how we look at this. So NTRK is the second drug that we currently are developing. Then we have a third drug, which is a macrocyclic multi-kinase inhibitor, which is what we call OM302. We anticipate it will be ready for a phase 1 study next year. And that is currently getting developed in pre-IND enabling studies. And that's the drug that we got a US FDA orphan drug designation and a rare pediatric designation for the treatment of neuroblastoma. Neuroblastoma, just so that you know, Brian, happens in the 90% of the neuroblastoma happens in kids less than 5 years old. That's how big and a serious of a problem that is, right? And then we have a OM003 drug that we are currently developing, planning to develop for glioblastoma and sarcoma. Glioblastoma, again, is a significant unmet medical need that still lacks some meaningful treatment options out in the market as well. So it's a very exciting portfolio that we have, and we intend to keep on expanding our portfolio. But more importantly, 2023 is going to be a year where we are hoping to deliver on some good quality clinical milestones for most of our portfolio.
Now, this is really exciting. And one of the things that fascinates me is the fact that you're able to get to market far quicker than that whole traditional long gestation period of a biotech company. And also the fact that you're addressing key niches, which then can be expanded. So it's starting small, but actually then expanding it a lot. And in the context of the precision oncology space in the Asia Pacific region, That's a huge market because the
Yeah.
space is supposed to be something like 275 billion by
Mhm.
2030. Where do you see yourself fitting into this huge market space in Asia Pacific?
Yeah, I mean, just think from a perspective, from a data standpoint, if you look at the number of cancer cases that are happening in the world right now, I think majority of the cancer cases are still happening in Asia. And if you further break that down, the number of cancer cases that are happening in the underserved areas is even higher, right? Because one thing is there is cancer and there is treatment available. Second thing is there is cancer, there is no treatment available. Actually, the second thing is much more worse than the first one as well, right? So where we see as an opportunity within AUM Biosciences, and that was actually the thought process when we started the company. We really wanted a company that is an Asian company with global perspective put together in drug development and in cancer drug development. Now, I don't say that others don't do it, but we are a small unit. We are a virtual biotech company that is focused on this particular target, that is to develop drugs for global markets, but use Asia as the pedestal to really expedite the development of the drug and actually get the data as fast as we can according to the standards set by the global regulatory bodies. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with this or not, Brian, but in Asia, the regulatory bodies are very fragmented. There is no one regulatory body that can say if the drug is good, it's available for the whole of Asia, right?
Everyone just goes through FDA, right? As long as FDA
Exactly.
approval, they'll say okay.
Correct. But they do have the local regulatory bodies. So there is a benchmark that has been set, right? So what we do is we use Asia, and we use the term we use the term Asia to global. And to put things to perspective, is when we do our phase 1 studies and do our phase 2 studies, we try and do majority of that in Asia because Asia has big advantages over the West. It has good sites. Not that I'm saying a West does not have sites, but there's a bit of crowded. There's a lot of things happening in the West. There's nothing wrong with what is happening in the West and nothing wrong with what is happening in the East. But there is an untapped opportunity in Asia that we should constantly tap onto. It's the good quality sites, access to patients, large pool of patients as well, and good key opinion leaders as well, right? So when you collect this data, and if you are able to try and reduce even say 3 to 6 months of your development cycle, that's massive. That's actually it's just phenomenal. I mean, I remember when I was in the industry prior to starting AUM Biosciences, we did some calculations, and every year, 1 year worth of delay in cancer drug development used to represent $365 million of sales loss for a pharma company, right? So $1 million a day is what was calculated as a rough value. So if we can reduce that by say 6 months or 9 months or 12 months, just tells you how impactful, not only from a commercial standpoint, but you're actually getting these medicines faster to patients, which is again very, very powerful as well.
Absolutely. Now, within and so because of your emphasis on Asia, because of all the factors that you mentioned, from an and I may use the wrong term, but experimental drug perspective, or when you're doing clinical trials, are some jurisdictions in Asia more receptive than others?
No, I wouldn't single out any particular regions, but I can tell you some good countries that I have had prior experience on as well. And one of them is Australia. One of them is Korea. Singapore is a great place to do early phase clinical trial as well. Taiwan is a good place to do early phase clinical trial. So yeah, I mean, these would be some of the countries that comes to my mind when we talk about Asia and Australasia. China clearly has its own way of doing phase 1 studies, and Japan has its own network of phase 1 sites as well. But if there has been some significant amount of experience that we have gathered to do phase 1 studies and phase 2 studies as well.
Now, Vishal, for a biotech company of your size, and as part of the overall ecosystem in drug development, your strategy is obviously to partner with giants who have the distribution, who have combination of drugs to take you to market quickly. You mentioned Merck earlier as one of your key collaboration partners for your first drug. What are the other partners that you're working with for your second, third, and fourth products?
Yeah, so we have not disclosed any major partnerships for the other drugs that we have. However, we have 2 other partnerships that we have publicly disclosed. And one other partnership with a major pharma company that we have disclosed last year was a partnership with a company called Roche. And that is again to do a combination trial with AUM-001 in various solid tumors. What we also did was to expand and tap onto the China market. We partnered with a Chinese company to out-license some of the rights of the regional rights to the Chinese company in return for upfront payments, development milestones, and sales milestones, so that we can try and develop the drugs that we have in our portfolio in a much faster way in the Chinese market as well. So you are absolutely spot on. This is not a game that you can play alone. You need to have good quality strategic partners. It's a very, very long marathon that you're running, and you need to have checkpoints in between. So yes, absolutely. We are very excited within AUM Biosciences that we have managed to achieve what we have in less than 3.5 years since our inception. And this only means that there are some exciting things coming up in the next few years' time as well.
Now, speaking of exciting things, you announced last October that you were going public through a merger with Mountain Crest, which is a US-based NASDAQ-listed special purpose acquisition company. Where are you at with that partnership?
Yeah, so we did make an announcement. It's a publicly disclosed information that we are planning to go for a listing through a SPAC merger, and that's a company called Mountain Crest Acquisition Corp 5. It has approximately $69 million in the trust at the time of signing the business combination agreement, with a pre-money valuation of $400 million US. We are in a silent period right now, so we are sharing information with the regulatory bodies, and we anticipate that if everything goes okay, we are targeting for a closure for the D-SPAC in Q1 of this year. And that's with a big caveat that if everything goes okay from a regulatory standpoint. So 2023 is looking like a very exciting year for us. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that. But definitely a great time to be part of the AUM Biosciences journey, Brian. I can say that to you.
Vishal, it's been a fascinating conversation. I really enjoyed it. I also learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to your success, because I know that will impact thousands of patients around the world. But before we leave, Vishal, any final thoughts you'd like to leave our audience with?
No, and first of all, Brian, I would like to echo what you said. It was a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for that. For one comment I would make is with regards to the mission and the vision that I started AUM Biosciences with, and that was really around the fact that there is a significant unmet medical need for cancer patients in Asia. And then at the same time, forget about just cancer, but what AUM Biosciences is really trying to do is make an holistic impact within the healthcare by developing meaningful medicines for patients across the region and globally as well. And what I feel is this is just the beginning for the Asian biotech landscape. I strongly feel that we have all the ingredients that we need to be successful, but with strong contributions and support from the various ecosystems, I think we can only grow to the next phases. So this is just the beginning. As they say, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to come, and please watch out for some exciting stuff coming in.
Vishal, and I will certainly be keeping my eye on your company. Thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm Brian Fernandez, and we've been speaking to Vishal Doshi, the chairman and CEO of AUM Biosciences. This video and podcast will be on our social media platforms as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. It'll also be on our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.